And we are live. And Mike, you're on mute, so you should probably unmute that, and then we can start talking to each other.
Yeah, that was a mistake, but that's okay. Yeah,
Boy, I tell you, I think I mentioned this the last time we had this. We had our live stream. That's the longest 5 minutes in CAD.
it is.
You know, I'm sitting here waiting for that thing to go live. At least the music's good.
Yeah.
So hey, let's welcome all of our guests in with us today. Lewis from Kenya is with us today. Hi, Lewis. Thanks for joining us. We've got our regulars here, Sebastian. Yep, amazing update. Michael Pasco is here with us today. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and show that comment, Sebastian. It's going to take up half the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
we're gonna definitely dive into these updates, Sebastian, for sure. See how they work. You know, a lot of the features here are quite deep, actually.
They are
introductory features that are new to Onshape.
And I noticed that a couple of the videos are actually quite long this time in the forums there. Takes that 3.5 minutes to explain what's going on there. But good, very good.
Yeah. It's a lot of big things in this update that are things that if you saw the Spinal Tap movie, if you're of my generation or Richard's generation, we've turned it up to 11, if you will, on a number of the things that we introduced in this particular update. Just taking something that you thought worked well in another program, right? and like completely mopping the floor. I mean, there's so much good stuff in these features that were added. They're just so deep. I think that's the theme, right, in this particular update.
Yep, I agree.
Lots of stuff that'll help people with consumer product design and part studios. So, I picked 3 highlights here. I'll just share my screen here so we can talk about it.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Sebastian says we turned it up to 12.
Turned it up to 12. Nice. Thanks. But yeah, my favorites that I thought that would receive a lot of attention were some of the surfacing improvements. Some of the controls that were added to the bridging curve to make it even more flexible. The curvature visualization stuff as well, obviously, will be big helps for the realm of consumer product designers and surfacing. So being able to understand, at a very detailed level graphically as well as by metadata, what the curvature of your surfaces are in various modalities, which is pretty cool. Not just one way, but many other ways. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the bridging curve control. While I'm not a real great surfacing guy, I can absolutely see the benefits there. Just again, just watching the video and seeing how it works and how easy it works, how easy it is to manipulate something like that. I mean, I know from experience that surfacing tends to be hard to do. And the more and more that the developers can make it easier for people like me, the more we're going to appreciate that. So
100%. For people that are involved with parts, or assemblies, lots of parts that are purchased or anything, any kind of assembly, the BOM has just completely been revamped to include mass roll up plus more.
Yes.
Okay. So,
and I'll have to admit that I went through that video twice, and I'm still not 100% sure exactly everything that was improved. I can see the general improvements. I can see the mass roll up is easy, but there are so many other things that went on with that particular piece of the update that I need to go back and watch that video again and actually do some trying with it. So
yeah, we'll do some live trying here to try to tease out, some of the use cases, I think, for this. I've been playing around with it this morning since I woke up, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah. We'll definitely do a deep dive.
Good. I'm glad you did the deep dive. Like I say, I did a cursory look at the video a couple of times, liked what I saw, but thought, I got to try some of this stuff out. So yeah, thanks for doing my work for me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Richard. I'm going to go over here and just open up something simple first, just to, open our, opening volley here with the color map curvature analysis, right? So,
yep.
I have a part studio here, right? Nice thing about Onshape part studios, right, is that, you can design several parts together in the context of each other, right? So something like this is a good candidate for a part studio because everything's kind of nestled in and cozy with each other, as far as the design goes. So now you have a new option under the, actually wrong. Let me just, I haven't upgraded that document yet. I thought I opened that document earlier though. Hold on. Yeah. Let me just go to a different one. All right. Curvature visualization, color map, zebra stripes, right? So now that's a new option, color map. We've always had the zebra stripes, and you've been able to, use that to understand how surfaces flow from one surface to another. But now you have color map, right? And color map, this will look through all of the items in your tab here. You can see that this is sort of flat, just by looking at this, right? You can see the surface has a 0 as I hover over it. And over here, we're seeing areas of curvature in a rainbow color plot that you can control, just like the simulation tool, right? It's the same exact interface, right? So you can move this around and work with it and set your limits of what you want to see. If you want to highlight different things, if you want to like set everything above -2.311, you can, set it there and then focus in on the areas that you're more interested in getting curvature readouts on. So this is the Gaussian plot right here. We also have other statistical ways of looking at the radius, on screen. So we can do the mean visualization. We can also choose from max or min radius, which I find as an engineer to be.
Yes. I think those are the two options that certainly will be used the most.
Yeah. So you can see, where, the curvature values are. Over here, we're getting about a 15-inch radius, in that section, which is really nice to be able to see that as I hover over that part of the screen. Nice thing about this is it works just like Onshape. So if you share with other people, right, view only, you're going to have these visualization plots that an advanced CAD user would have, even as a view only consumer of the information. So if you're sending parts out for quote, and you share people into a publication or something like that, all of this is going to work. And you're going to be able to have a much easier relationship with your supply chain.
The more information you can get off to your manufacturer, the better your parts are going to be manufactured.
Exactly. The video, I'm not going to redo Jake's great work here in the video because he did a great job kind of showing how this thing really works in here. I'll just try to get to a point here. As design changes are being made on this hand scanner housing right here. So what Jake's showing here is that, we have kind of a sort of discontinuous surface here. It's not like matching continuity or anything like that. Of course, we see that jump right there.
Yep.
Right. So very, very easy to tell that needs to be addressed in some way. And now we're using some of the tangency controls here to make that a bit more smooth, right? And you can see that fix it, right away. You can go up to equal curvature to see a better smoothness. So that having that live while you're making design change updates is really nice, right?
Yeah, and something like that would have been really hard to see without functionality like this.
Exactly. So we have curvature combs, we have zebra stripes, we have curvature analysis now on the surface stuff. So I think that's really pretty impressive. On the other side of things, and I'll get back to the other things. This is just kind of related because it's surface related. The bridging curve improvements. So in this particular case, you'll see as Jake goes ahead and starts adding a curve from one surface set to another, he's picking a point and an edge, and that gives it the it's tangent coming out of here, and it's coming out from a tangency here. But we can actually move that around, right, by dragging that position over, or you can reposition it from the 0 and the tangency angle, if you will. And this is a lot of times you would have to do this with like sketch geometry that you predefine, or make connectors that are predefined to kind of get your curve to reference something else. Let me just go back to that and pause it. Yeah, sometimes you want a curve coming out at a particular angle, so you have to like create a sketch first, and then use that angle of the sketch as a vector that would then give you something else to line up with. And I see that a lot in surfacing technique and industrial design. This helps you reduce that step and make your models perform better, as well as, giving you the shape that you're looking for in a fewer steps. Right?
Yeah, nice and clean. Not a lot of construction geometry around.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what this is all about. And, we expect people to enjoy that in the consumer product design space.
I imagine they will.
All right, this one I'm going to show live. Aggregated assembly properties. Such a cold name for such a beautiful thing that was added. This is the bomb. Really, it really is. Let's go ahead and open up some sort of assembly here. Go into a machine design of some sort. Actually, I had something in my recently opened list here that I was just working on. All right, I have this small subassembly here, of a robotic kind of conveyor. And it's, got all the stuff, and, we can put, beverages in it and take a look. But over here, if you look at my bill of materials, you'll see I have a lot of cool stuff happening. I have a row for the top level of the assembly. That's a new thing. I have a column here for the cost, in this case, of some of the parts that I have built. I also have a column here called buy. Some of the parts that I buy are in here, right? And look what happens if I uncheck that checkbox. Right? It's actually going to recalculate the bill of materials to show me just the summed up price of the parts that I've selected in this case.
Yep.
So these are really the only two parts I need to go to purchasing to, and this is how much money I need, for one of these units, $12.75 for a bunch of parallel pins and a top plate. But let's show you how this works from the very get-go. And I'm going to do this from blank document, just because I think it shows better. Because you can get the sum of mass and weights in a bill of material in almost any CAD system, but the way you have to set it up and approach it requires a lot of setup. And the moment you start going off site and working off of VPN or off in other situations, they end up breaking. So I'm going to call this we'll call it the subsystem. I'm going to be really generic here. But I have a part studio, just a blank part studio, and I'm going to start sketching out, a couple of parts, and then I'll import a couple of parts. So I'm going to have 100 by 150 right here. We'll extrude that.
And while you're doing that, I'll welcome Nicholas to the chat, and our old friend Brian LaGrange is here this morning. Hello,
Hey,
Brian.
How you doing? All right, so what I'm just going to do is create a few parts. I'm not going to go too crazy. I just want to make sure you see this as blank items. I'll tell that to be another new part right here. All right, so part 1, which I'm going to call the base. Part 2, which I'm going to call the gasket. We have part 3, which we're going to call the block. All right, so we have these 3 parts in this part studio, and I have the subsystem assembly right here. And of course, I can start inserting, those parts from the part studio. And of course, our bill of materials is starting to show us some information, right? We have the block, we have the gasket, rev. This is just the way I have my bill of materials. I have different bill of material
Sure.
templates that I've set up over.
Yeah, as well. Well, you should. Everybody should. Depends on
Absolutely.
it depends on what's going on with that particular drawing, or with
Exactly.
that particular assembly.
So let's go to the embalm here, which has this, and I'm going to add a column for mass. Where is it? Weight. I renamed mine weight in the system properties. So I have that in here, and these don't have any material yet, right?
Yep.
So let's set the material. Use my 6061 on this.
By the way, if you're watching, did you see what Mike just did? Automatic updates to custom properties right from the bill of materials.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just setting the material from the BOM, which is also setting the weight automatically, right? Now,
Yep.
that's already pretty cool, and we've had that for a little while now. What you would have to do in other CAD systems is create a template with a custom property that calls out the weight, and you'd have to make everybody and enforce this standard across everybody, and you'd have to like do update files and registry hacks, and then every time you do an update, this gets screwed up. I've heard it all. This just works because it's part of the Onshape deployment is that that the weight shows up. New for this update, we can add from the three dot ellipses menu here, show top level assembly row, which will actually put it at the bottom because it's summarizing the name of the subsystem assembly here, right? Showing us that. And it's auto summed the weight. Nice. Right? I didn't have to put in my own equation or anything like that. It's just it's a function in the system. We can do all the other things, get the part numbers. Can add another column here for buy. Now, am I going to buy? Let me go to this block, and I'm going to put a few more blocks in here. Right, so now obviously our weight's up to date. I'm going to buy the block. And the block, I'm going to add another column for cost. And I know the block, I got a quote for it for $45.15. Yeah, $180 of blocks in my bill of materials, right? So this is pretty easy. How do you set this up, right? So the weight was automatic. I did, that you do not have to do any setup. If you're an Onshape customer, you have this, and you don't have to do any setup. Okay, all you have to do is add that row, and then it shows up here. By the way, you can actually override the name here. Call this assembly or whatever. And that's just going to rename everything, of course.
That was going to be my next question. And before I could look down at the tab to see if that worked, you said it worked. Beautiful.
Yep. So how do you set this up? Well, you go into your properties as a company. A pro or enterprise company is the only place where you can do any custom properties, right? So everybody gets the weight, every user. But if you're a pro or enterprise company, you get to create your own custom properties, right? So I created a custom property called cost, right?
Yep.
And cost, it's active, and it has a type of double. A double value in the drop-down list here. When you if I were to create a new custom property just from scratch, you have all these types of custom properties you can create. This is really cool if you're a CAD admin.
Yeah.
This makes you salivate. But you can put integer, double values, right? And these values, obviously are able to be summed and things like that. You wouldn't be able to do that with a user list, right? There's my user list of people in my company. So I created a custom property for cost, but I also created one for something called buy. And buy, I told it to be a Boolean operator, meaning it's a checkbox, true or false. Okay. So by default, it's false. And I make sure it's set for the categories that I want these properties to work on, right? I want them to work on assembly category, item, category, and part. Items are those things in the BOM that you can not model, but you have paint, glue, things like that, right? And then, you have this other option here for aggregated assembly properties. So this one I don't need to aggregate. I'm not aggregating checkboxes of make or buy. I'm aggregating the cost. So if I go to cost, here we are. We have aggregate assembly property.
Yep.
Right. And I told it to come up with a sum, but you can see you can also do all sorts of statistical things, in this, just like you would in an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, right? And we're going to aggregate the cost property, which is the one I have selected. And, if it's missing a value, you can have it figure out, treat it as 0 or just skip it, right? So really intelligent parametric, we have a parametric bomb, if you will, if you think about it that way. And then this is really cool. You can filter the aggregation. So I created that checkbox called buy, right?
Yep.
For the cost property. And if that checkbox is selected, include when true, it'll figure it out. And that's what's causing this to work, right? I just say, okay, this is something I'm buying, and then it will calculate the cost. If I didn't have that, it's gonna zero it out, even though it knows what the cost is.
That's the cost, sure. Yep.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And furthermore, this is something that I know you'd have a question on, Richard, is drawings. Like I was freaking out. I was like, oh no, this is great, but what's going to happen to my drawing? I don't want to see that on my drawing. That'd be kind of weird. But I'll get my purchasing bomb. We'll put it at a top level bomb on the top, put it in the corner. We're not seeing that extra row with all that calculated stuff, right? That would be kind of weird for a drawing.
Yeah.
You want to see it in the assembly while you're doing your work and everything. Also, while I'm here, let's edit this drawing template. Go in and unlock my sheet. I don't care about the finish on an assembly drawing, but what I do care about is the weight. Right? And I can go in here in my assembly drawing and pull out the weight.
Beautiful. Just
like that. So weight shows up now as a custom property in any note now, right? So, you'd be able to go in and just kind of call it out from here or any other, kind of summed property.
Yep.
But, that's going to be available right here, in your notes. And, but obviously you don't want to see that other row in the bomb. So that's why it doesn't go up.
Yep.
Right. So it only shows here, and you can, still do all your other stuff with the bomb, still use, items as well, blue paint, referencing, these objects or something. Right. And, this one, I don't have the ability to set that right now because I don't think I've set the property right. But you would imagine, this would all carry through, once I do some stuff with it. I got to look into that.
Beautiful.
I would go a little too far with my demo.
No. In fact, I don't have to go back and watch the video again because you have just answered all the questions that I had about that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Patrick Olcott is here. Cage codes. Oh my goodness.
Cage codes.
And item masters.
And military.
Oh my goodness. It's bringing me back to my document control days. I was not only the only designer and drafter, but I was also the guy that was responsible for the ERP systems and everything else. And code. And anytime you say the word code, I get a little triggered.
Yeah. But yeah, the cage code, it's all bringing back some memories now of military kind of part number configuration control type stuff. Something I'll have to look into, Patrick, is see if there's a way of I don't think cage code will ever get added as a basic property. I mean, just to throw it out there, I mean, if you need cage code, you should buy an Onshape Pro or Enterprise account and add that as a property to your company. It's if you're doing military work, so but it's definitely added as a custom property in the Pro or Enterprise realm. I know, it's a property that I've used in the past for sure.
Some updates on frames.
Yes, this one I have not had a chance to try out live, so I'm going to do it right now.
All right, there we go. No fear.
No fear, right? Yeah, let's. I'm going to go ahead and create a frame right here in this document, really quick. Call that out as a frame. I'm going to use my little trick here to do this.
Yeah, I've been using frames a lot. Went back and redesigned the tiny house. All of the framing is now done in the frames command. It's just so easy, so intuitive. When I found out you didn't have to have a sketch line to insert a frame member. I mean, you can use the edge of an existing part. Just little things like that as you're going through, and you start using functionality like that. You just makes you smile every time.
Exactly. Just gonna make that transparent. All right, so add a frame beam member. Here we are. It'll be rectangular tube. Why not? Did you know you can just pick a face like that?
Yes, I know. It's so cool. And the way the manipulators, the way those are handled, I can't give the guys, the development team, enough credit for what they've done with frames. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, let's do a parallel edges here.
The engineer says he loves your bomb templates, Mike. Please share them.
Yeah, the bomb templates are. I wish I could share them really easily. But yeah, they're really easy to make. Maybe I'll do a blog post on them or something. So let's just do this. Pop this to the to here.
See, I love Patrick's last message there, and I'm gonna copy it and send it to our customer satisfaction managers and BDRs and outside salespeople. We'll get you switched over, Patrick.
All right, I'm just gonna have a butt joint there so we can see an opening there. All right, so you don't want hornets or anything laying there or creating a nest in here or anything like that. So you want to cover that up, right?
Yep.
So right there, I have a brand new button. Right?
Wow.
End cap.
Boy, I'm gonna guess that you can either put it on the outside or on the inside.
Yeah, look what it did. It popped that surface back, right? So if I, go back to, this menu right here is so nice.
Yep. Oh yeah.
After, right? So it's showing me that it's pushing it in, matching the profile. Now that might be overkill.
Yeah.
Right. So I just might want to do a rectangle. Right. Now, if I really want to, maybe I want a chamfer on the edge.
Yep.
Right. Just for, giving a little more room for welding, or maybe I want just slightly a little bit more room for welding. Right. We'll just do 1 millimeter in the offset in the other direction. Maybe 2 millimeter weld bead will go around that.
There you go.
That might be good. I could also do a fillet if I really wanted to. Right. If I have a flame cutter or whatever, it's just easy, But yeah, there's your length, call it 2.5 or something like that. Half for that. Yeah. So this is a nice parametric feature that builds this. You can also do it as a circle. Like if you had like a pipe, it's obviously if you had a whole bunch of discs laying around, you could just weld them to the side of your thing. You can even do an internal gap and inset it by a certain amount.
Yeah, that's you have to have that option.
Yeah,
you have to have it. Hey, John McClary joined us, and he's late. It's okay, John. It's okay, John. You didn't have to sit through the 5-minute countdown.
It's great.
I agree. Yeah. I agree, Sebastian. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, the end caps are done like very deeply, as you can see. I mean, it's like I can't think of any other condition where this wouldn't work. I mean, it's well.
So I guess it looks like John was up all night. He waited until the update came out, and he stayed up, and then he updated all of his drawing templates before he went to work this morning. So good job, John.
Good job. They should give you a promotion. The cut list will let's select all the frames, see what the cut list looks like when we do this.
I'm betting it's going to have an end cap in it.
I'm betting it will once I add it to the cut list. So it automatically selects all frames automatically, but a cap is not a frame,
Yep.
right? So, I just need to pick that cap. And if I wanted to see that, you would just let me find the name of the column. Let me turn this off for a second. All right, name of the column is description. That's the one I want. Or maybe I want length. I'll just use description. And there we are. It adds
There we go.
row, and we can call that out as end cap. Well, actually, do you want to actually, type in, what this is? That's the only thing you have to think of with this. Yep. Did I put description in there? Maybe I didn't. Value. Oh, value.
Yeah.
End cap.
Oh, and I'm glad you went to capitals.
Yes. Yeah. Capitals. I actually have in my actual bill of materials, you'll notice that I have all caps.
Yes.
In there. And that's actually a setting in your options to make those all caps. So you don't have to.
Everybody should have that setting on.
Exactly.
Lowercase letters do not belong on engineering anything. unless you're specifying microfarads or something,
I know. We got us old school drafting board people
yeah.
Still calling the shots.
So Brian LaGrange is not happy. He wants gussets next. So actually, he probably is happy, but he'll be happier if we can get gussets going on that as well. So
I agree. And a little birdie told me that could be happening. So
no.
Yeah. Anyway, what is next? We got a lot of good stuff with frames there. So who knew you could talk about end caps for 10 minutes?
Yeah, no kidding.
Nice little update to the sheet metal stuff. I haven't tried this out live, so I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot. This is one of my favorites in this particular release, and it's such a it's a small change, but it's a great change. I love being able to manipulate things without having to tie them directly down initially. You know what I mean? I mean, you're playing around with some stuff. You're playing around with your flange length. You don't have to start adding dimensions every single time you want to change something. And so this little slider they've got going now is fantastic.
Yeah. Let me make this a bit more normal. And what do we want for our release? We'll just do a tear, closed corner. Yeah, I guess that'll work.
Beautiful.
So yeah. Partial flange, right? We've had it. Now we can, use.
Nice. That is just so cool.
Yeah.
Look at that. And it did both of them at the same time. Because you had them both selected at the same time, didn't you?
That's right.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I absolutely just love that one.
Yeah. It's nice. So just makes it easier. Just get it in the right direction. Helps you figure out which direction is what.
Yep.
Because what is the first one? What is the second one? Then now you know.
Yep. Beautiful. And both at the same time. Wow.
And in the flat pattern at the same time.
And in the flat pattern. My goodness.
So dynamic. All right.
What a great release.
Yeah. Drawing stuff.
Drawings.
All right. So I have not played with this one yet. Let's see what the video folks created.
Well, if you've ever used Microsoft Word, you know what Format Painter is.
Yeah. So we're just taking from one to the other, but now we have control over, how it pastes it, right? It's like paste special, right? Yep. If you're going back to the other kind of programs.
Yeah. And because generally, you are doing one or the other here, and very rarely doing both at the same time, I would think.
Right.
So the ability, especially the tolerance and precision, that's where I find I use Format Painter most often. I'm not a layers guy. I'm not a colors guy. When it comes to my drawings, everything's black and white. It's all on the same page, if you will. but Format Painter allows me to, you can quickly go through and dimension a drawing, not worry about your tolerancing until you get to that point where you have to worry about it. And now you don't want to have to go back to every single dimension that you entered and enter the new tolerances. For the most part, if you're working on a piece of metal or some sheet metal, most of your tolerances on your critical dimensions are going to be the same, right? You're going to use your standard 30 thousandths for sheet metal or something, but when you got your hole to hole distance and you got to knock that down to 10 thousandths, you're going to put a note on your drawing, right?
Yeah.
And if you have several different dimensions, several different notes, Format Painter works beautifully to add those tolerances to every single one of them. So
yeah, and I'm just
again, small changes, but just super productivity changes.
Let's see how this works. So I have this Format Painter. We're going to paste content and not style on this, and this. Oh, did I do that wrong? I think I did it wrong. Hold on. Select an annotation. Bang. There we go. So I did it that way on purpose because I changed every bit of the style. But if I change it again, let's just do content. Could go from here to here to here. Maybe it's not working on that tolerance. All right, I'm gonna have to play some more.
Yeah, I'm not sure what content is though.
I believe it was what Jake was doing here, right? You can see the tolerance. It was 69. He typed in, PCD typical. And he wanted the same thing.
I see. So it's the additional notes that you might put on your dimensions. Right, I see.
Right.
Okay.
So style, tolerance. Oh, that was the problem. I had tolerance and precision unchecked when I did my thing. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not a complete idiot. I'm just a minor one right now. So let's do this. Tolerance and precision. There we are. Yep. And it kept, it did not change it to this color.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Yep.
Great stuff, guys. Great.
All right. If you're not using comments, they're a good thing to do.
Hey, Toby. Too Tall Toby's joined us.
Too Tall Toby.
Pardon?
So nice to see you, Toby. And great job again on the speed modeling contest from last week. I was not able to watch it live. I know all of the results.
I watched it live. It was absolutely amazing, Michael. And we got to give a shout out to young Alnish Smidgens. He was the winner. He used Onshape to defeat literally he started with 32, so you got to win 5 matches to get through, right?
Yeah, and he defeated many Model Mania champions over the years from SolidWorks.
Yep.
It was great. And Toby just runs a great show.
He really does. And it's a lot of fun to watch. He always has some great guests on. I haven't been invited to be on his live telecast yet or podcast yet, but as long as he's here and listening, I can throw that out there. But yeah, great guy, Too Tall Toby, Toby Schnars. And every time I hear that name, I think back to the Fully Defined song, and if you're out on YouTube and you do a search on Fully Defined song, you're going to find Toby. You're going to find him singing it. It's a lot of fun. I actually got to see him perform that live once. So that was a lot of fun before one of his sessions. So
totally.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, Toby. Appreciate it.
All right.
Render Studio improvements.
Render Studio stuff. Yes. So, making the interface just easier to use, making it easier and easier to make the image that you want. That's really the what's happening here, right? So, it's
I was glad to see any kind of changes because I've actually been using Render Studio quite a bit here lately. In fact, when we get a second, maybe I can show a couple of models that I've created so far.
Totally, yeah. Let's bring out my coffee grinder. I actually have this coffee grinder, that I use.
All right. Yeah.
So it's always right here next to me. But we'll just create a quick rendering of the XS configuration, North America vert configuration of the coffee grinder. Yeah, I can actually create a Render Studio right in tab without having to use any resources or melt my computer through my desk. And in just a moment, Amazon is going to give us an NVIDIA GPU to do insane rendering with, without me having to do anything other than add a tab to my document. While that's getting loaded up, I have just I have this assembly here, right? Just a small assembly, not fully done yet or anything, but
I was going to say that looks like the stirrer might fall out the bottom there.
Yeah. You're going to grind your coffee and it's just going to go all over the counter. Where am I? There we are. All right. So new in this update, the obviously we can check the clipping and tone mapping under the view pull down menu, and we can reset the ground. Right. So right now the ground is here. Let's go over here. Here's tone mapping, clipping, all that stuff's been added here. It used to be like really esoteric stuff that you'd have to find in the appearances menu, and you have to kind of deep dive and you need a scuba suit and everything to find it. But here, now, it's just much more accessible. So tone mapping, like this is like high end. This is like Photoshop for CAD, at this point. Simple. Let's go into a library here and grab an environment. So let's just put it in an environment.
There we go.
I don't know. We need a kitchen. Oh, there's a restaurant in here somewhere.
Yeah, I try indoor.
Yeah, indoor. That would be a good one. Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Anyway, so I'm setting my film ISO value here. Usually 100 f. But I want my f-stop to be 2.8. Right, that gives me more light. If you're a photographer, you know that. You want vignetting around the edge. You know what kind of compression variant. This is all way over my head at this point.
Mine too.
Shutter speed. I want 1000. But yeah, you can just kind of set these things much easier. I would have to be, like I said, deep diving into the settings to get to this stuff before, and now it's just much easier to get, right? And I'll just finish it off by throwing some aluminum on that. There we are, and acrylic. Can't spell acrylic today, but glass. I'll just do glass. I know I can. All right, there we are. So now we have our stuff going. So it's just way easier to do this stuff now. Right in the system.
Beautiful.
All right, and then this one got a lot of fun, on the on the feed here. This is my desk here, right? So everybody was noticing my loop deck CT. Nobody noticed my space mouse. I mean, I guess they just know that I have
I think everybody knows the space mouse is a space mouse, but they're looking over at that Star Trek drive configurator or whatever it is over there that you're,
Yeah, this is a loop deck CT. You can actually program the buttons. Like I have a button to change my lighting in my room right now. You can see my lighting changing, right?
Yep.
I can turn it completely off there. Or I can have it launch a terminal window, or I can have it launch a presentation, or I can have it control Onshape commands. Okay.
Oh, so, I gotta give me one of those.
Yeah. So yeah, it almost reminds me of the old digitizer tablet, where you can have the commands on there. It's got nice knobs on it.
I used to make my own custom digitizer templates. That was one of the yep. Used to print them out on a pen plotter and
it's kind of like a fun cycle. You design it in CAD, print it on the plotter, and then the plotter gives you something you can use in your CAD system.
Yeah, exactly.
There's my Mac Studio. That's the computer I use, and then that other device is a video mixer. So this is letting me go from camera 1 to camera 2. Camera 2 is my phone, essentially. That's what's happening. So that's what that other device with all the lights behind my 3D mouse is. I have another thing, a really cool roadcaster that's on my screen out of view. Anyway, but here's the video.
This update to AR.
I'll just hide the thing here. But essentially, AR view now, as I drop that device here on my desk, you see it's giving me shadows as I place it, right? So it sits in the environment much more realistically, right? It just looks cool, and I just thought it'd be cool if I made a design change on the behind the monitor there, that it would update the AR view in front of it. Thought that would be kind of cool.
Some sort of pressure test stand or something.
Yeah, it's a test stand, a crank truing stand. You can see the crank, on it, from the piston, so must be some kind of quality inspection. The stat is for every one part that's made, 7 other parts need to be made to make that part. Just kind of back to the pen plotter. But yeah, all, think of molds, tooling, inspection tooling, manufacturing tooling, custom brackets to hold things down, things like that, 3D printed, people are using 3D printing for bracket supports and holding, obviously. So for every one part, 7 parts need to be made is the average. Oh, that might be complete hogwash, but it sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds good.
If you have an Android device, you can
I do
link sharing now, so you can quite easily share somebody a hyperlink. If you're slacking somebody, hey, I want to share you this Onshape document, and all you have is your Android tablet on you, you can do that now. So that's a good thing. Obviously, there's some new Learning Center content. If you're an Arena and Onshape customer, there is now a guide, that will guide the Onshape Enterprise Administrator how to connect it. What is it, like a page long? Let's see. It's not much to it. Let's see. So I haven't gone.
There's a little to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of the stuff in Arena that you have to do, actually, just to make sure it's all ready to go. So Matt Rohr put this together here. Everybody knows Matt Rohr, right?
Yeah,
former SolidWorks user group guy, worked at MakerBot, and obviously works at Onshape now.
And Matt will be doing a presentation at our first user group meeting of 2023. That'll be on January 5th. That'll be up on the calendar sometime today. Don't go to the user group calendar right now and start looking for it, because I haven't updated it yet. But Matt will be our featured presenter. He hasn't come up with a topic yet. He thinks we're going to talk about assemblies and make connectors, which is something I really love to hear about. So
sounds good to me.
At any rate, you should be there, because Matt's a smart guy, and you can ask him all kinds of questions, and he'll have all kinds of answers for you.
Absolutely. So, what else did we add there? We got some other
some updates in the Learning Center. It happens just about every release.
Navigating Onshape for new users. This one, it's
get
updates to this, because this is like, if you're coming from other CAD, how do you share Onshape information as easily as you've shared other,
or even and frankly, even for non-CAD users, really, I mean, somebody that needs to, in a view only mode, needs to check out a model or check out an assembly. This guide will help them to get to the point where they can do that easily.
Exactly. It's just way easier to share something in Onshape versus like export something, email it, then they're all disconnected files. So that's the update.
Yeah, and it was a good one too. So I don't know, if you can give me a second, let me show my screen here real quick, because I have posted something in the forums. Not really a challenge, just a little post that I've been working on some stuff on my spare time. It's the holiday season, so why not do some holiday ornaments? And it's given me a chance to really kind of dig a little bit deeper into Render Studio. It's really easy to go into a Render Studio, create a scene, throw some appearances on there, and do a render. But what I really want with this one is I really want this to be really something unique and something beautiful, especially this beads here that I like quite a bit. And I'm working on an entire Christmas tree, which I hope to be able to post sometime next week. I'm going on vacation next week for a couple of weeks, and I'll have plenty of time to work on that. So So if you're in the forums, take a look for holiday ornaments. That's my post up there. And if you feel like it, let's throw some pictures up there. Let's see what everybody can do with that. So
that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Well, Mike, it's been another fantastic update, and I love this. Every 3 weeks, I get to get up a little bit, even extra early, and we get to go live with the folks. We love it when the folks come in and talk to us. Michael, Sebastian, John, Toby. I probably missed a couple of them. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. I love the comments. I sit there and I read every single one of them. We try to respond to as many as we can. So it's been a great morning.
Yeah, totally. Thank you all. And we'll see you next year for the next update.
That's right. And don't forget, we're dropping a new episode this week. Thursday, we'll be talking about variables on this episode. So Thursday, that episode will drop. We've got some great stuff coming up in the new year. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hang out with us every 3 weeks, and hang out with us not live every 2 weeks.
All right. See everybody later.
So long, everybody.